What's going on, guys? It's your boy Kage, and today we are going over something very special. I'll go ahead and show y'all Primal TCG. Now, as you all know, I love me some card games. I play the hell out of like a lot of them, and today we're gonna just be going over the demo decks and whatnot, and some of the rules for most of it. Now, this is a indie game up and starting. It'll be out pretty soon, I believe April 20th. So make sure you get your hands on the first edition wave of this stuff. And if you like how the cards look and the artwork and the effects and stuff like that, make sure to pick this stuff up. You know that you don't want to miss out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the field. This is the field area. You're allowed one field in the game, so it's essentially a 51 card deck. I guess not counting the field, it would be a 50 card deck. Your battlefield area is in the front here. You have a turn counter, discard pile, deck, expel area, which is probably your removal area. As you can see, Primal TCG, the essence area, and then you have battle rewards area. Now, we're gonna go ahead and go over the card. All right, first and foremost, there are 6 elements in Primal. So right now, I believe these are just the demo decks for both the Terra, and then this would be water. There's also fire, air, necro, and plasma. Now, they all have different stuff in them, so we're gonna go ahead and see first what Terra has to offer us. And keep in mind, this is a demo deck, so this is about 30 cards of it out of the 50 that you would need. So we're just gonna go over some of the stuff here, figure out exactly what some of these cards do. Alright, so first going into this, the card stock is actually pretty good. I do like me some good card stock. I will go ahead and show you what both of them have in there and do. Now these are your turn player dice, so they start at turn 0 and go up, turn 1, and then so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure this has to do with part of the game. We will be going over that in just a bit, but first I want to read off some of these cards, and we'll go first and foremost with the card that I showed at the very beginning, Chomp. Now Chomp is a card that, requirements, you need a Micromon for it, which is these little monster guys that are in this game, and target one character opposing the user, so your opponent's creature essentially, and for one it looks like it's a cost of 2. It has to be 2 Terra, and then it's an ability, injure the target, and then if the user is higher turn cost if the user has higher turn cost, so that means if you have higher turn cost than the target, then deal 1 damage to that creature. So you hit it for 1 damage if you're in advantage of turns. Next, we have 2 copies of the Shield Boulder. Now keep in mind that the cards are max at 3 copies per deck, and then if they have a unique trait in it, that means you can only use 1 copy on the field at a time. So make sure you keep that in mind. Requirements: Micromon for this, and every character in the user's team. Target is unaffected by effects of your opponent's characters' abilities, opponent's characters or abilities during this turn. So I'm assuming abilities are able to be used both your turn and your opponent's turn. Expert Spiranbol, which is character in this game. User cannot be dealt any damage or be injured this turn. So it's a nice little Wabaku shield type thing going on with that. It's pretty cool. Up next, Constriction. Has to be an animal, and then 1 character opposing the user, so opponent's monster. The target becomes standby and cannot be sent out to battle during the turn. So you put it back basically out of the battlefield, and then they can't go back into the battlefield during organization phase, which is the thing that you use to build up the team to make them stronger and attack together. And it's a 3-man cell that you use per thing. So we have 3 copies of Sisvolto. Yeah, Sisvolto, and it is a Air Terra card. Show you right here. And then it says trigger when this now assume all of these are just animal and Micromon going forward. When this character is put into play, you may reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, move 1 animal character among them to your hand, and then return the rest of the deck, and then shuffle your deck afterwards. So you have a searcher, which is pretty cool. Then we have 1 copy of Lima, which is unique. So you can you can only have 1 on the board. You can only control 1 on the board at a time. So think of it as the if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, Grandmaster of the 6 Samurai, and if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, legendary rule. So essentially a legendary rule. And then activate opponent's turn, EOA. By paying 1, place this character from your hand into one of your teams with 2 or more Micromon characters in it. So basically just giving your team a little boost. And then we have 2 copies of Medarta, which is pretty cool, you know, animal. That one was a fire Terra, by the way. That's kind of important. Terra, and then it says trigger when this card is sent out to block. You may reveal the bottom card of your deck, and then if it's a character card, move it to the hand, and then otherwise shuffle your deck. So pretty cool. Basically, you get like reverse, a weird like reverse look at your deck. Look at it. If it's character, you add it to your hand, and if not, then go ahead and shuffle your deck. So you know, you get a chance if you block, you trigger the effect. Up next, we have Krakoon. Now this card is pretty cool. Target or trigger. If this card is summoned, target one character and place a poison counter on it. I'm gonna have to look at what poison counters do later on, but that seems like that's kind of cracked. Up next, we have 2 copies of Foro. Foro is if your field card has a Terra symbol. When this card is put into play, you may search your deck for one mass character with a turn cost of 2 or less. So I'm assuming turn cost is right there, and add it to your hand. So pretty cool little effect. So you get like some little recurrence for just summoning them. We got Charonus, which is trigger. If your field card is named Unexpected Encounter, when this character is sent out to attack in team by itself, you may target one character your opponent controls, and if you do during this turn, that character's team must block this character's team if possible, and this character gets +2/+0 during this turn. So you basically get a nice little buff to your team attack, and you're forcing them to attack, or you're forcing them to block. So it's some pretty rough shenanigans going on there. Next, we got Marvel, also one of the Micromons. It's a air Terra type archetype for this, so you can do either or. The character, when this character is summoned and you control another Micromon character, you may target one character your opponent controls with a turn cost of 2 or less from its team, and that character cannot be sent into battle during this turn. So during the organization phase, to figure out who's attacking, who's blocking, basically you can stun one of their characters and be like, hey, that's not coming out this turn, and I'm gonna come out and swing. So nice little stun options Micromon has. Up next, we have Yogador. Yogador is pretty cool. It's a nice little mass beast. Ongoing, valid. All other animal characters in this character's team gets +1/+1. So this is a nice little boost as well. Buff, turns your team all into like some nice little buff attacks. So you can get up to a +2/+2 for your 3-man cell, which is sick. Next, we have 1 copy of Mascador. I love the artwork on this one. This one's really cool looking. I just like how the whole background is on fire and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool. You got fire and Terra type. So this is transformation from Fora. How I read it and how transformation seems to work in this game is you play this and then you send the other one to the expo or discard pile, and then target when this character is put into play by one of your card effects, you may search your deck for one ability card that includes Masked or Micromon in its requirements and add it to your hand. That's pretty cool. Very big creature, and also it's really nice to have something like that that is in the deck. Now, this is one of your field cards. You're only allowed 1 field in the deck, so this is the one of. So this is essentially like, this is why your deck's a 51 card deck, because this basically will be on either on board, I believe, or this is just like how your field is. Unexpected Encounter. Each time you play a Micromon character card, you may place 1 counter on this card and then activate during your turn, during your main phases. Remove 2 counters from this card and then draw a card. Now, really good effect, especially since your whole deck's Micromons. Probably a pretty nice option there. Up next, we have the one of, this card is so sick, dude. Oh man, Labarta, and it transforms from Charonus, and its name is still Charonus, and then the other one's name is still Fora. So this card right here is ongoing. All other Micromons characters on you control gain +1/+1. So that's pretty nice. That's a nice little buff there. I see, I guess these support values, these are support values instead of like defense. So I'm assuming you can't really use, well, I'll have to figure it out, but I'm gonna go ahead and look through it, figure all that. But yeah, the ability on this is pretty good. +1/+1 to everybody else. And then trigger once per turn. When one of your in-play strategy cards leaves play, you may move 1 card from your discard pile to the bottom of your deck. So this is pretty cool. Once per turn effect. You can only play 1 strategy a turn anyway. That winds up happening. You basically just recur something out of your discard pile back into your deck. So Micromon has quite a bit of really good stuff from what I see, even with the half deck here. That's pretty nice. Up next, we have a card called Capture. This is also a strategy card. Your strategy cards are kind of like your spell cards. You can't just go ham with them, but you can you can play abilities and so, or yeah, you can play these a couple of turns and whatnot, and all these other characters and stuff like that give your stuff boosts in all of this. Or you can counter, which is, I guess that's what you play on your opponent's turn. Target one character, negate the effects of the target, and the target cannot be sent onto the battlefield during this turn. So basically, instead of like, I guess during the organization phase, or like if you feel like they're gonna play something and they want to bring it out, you go ahead and you play this for, I believe it'll be a 3 cost, and then I'm assuming that means like discard a card or something like that for the effect. So boom, boom, stun it, and then basically keep it in the back so they can't just go wide on you. Then we got a copy of Monstrous Will. Now discard top 5 cards of your deck, and then if you do, put one animal character with a turn cost less than your turn marker from your discard pile. So that's kind of cool. Up next we have Hidden Spirit, strategy card, and then it says permanent 2. Ongoing, while this card is in play, mass character cards with your in your essence gain camouflage. That means like if this is ongoing for right there, so like you play it on the field, and then anything that's in here that's essence, or yeah, that's essence right here, basically your mana pool, they gain camouflage. So camouflage, you can bring stuff out of your essence if it has camouflage in it, so you can bring it up to the board with that effect. And then when this card leaves play, you may draw a card. So the card's pretty good. Mychromic Hatchling. So this card is also Terra type card. It's strategy. Permanent 2. When this card is put into play, you may draw 1 card, and then your turn during your main phase for 0, you can draw a card, and if you do, discard 1 card from your hand. Nice. And then we have 2 Microsphere. This card is also a permanent 2. So I'm assuming permanent 2 means like it stays on the board for 2 turns maybe. To go ahead and double check that in the rule set. But yeah, trigger once per turn. When you play a Micromon character card, you may draw a card. So pretty nice, and it's for a turn cost of 1. And then for a turn cost of 4 and a discard, I believe that's what that is. Move 3 cards from your discard pile to your essence area. And if you control 3 or more character cards with the same symbol as this card, draw a card. So hit the strategy. Basically, you're gonna have Terra all day. So you just slap them on here, and then you draw 2 cards for doing it. So it's like a pot of greed. Really sick. All right, up next, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the pirates, aka water types. First up, we have Brute Strength. Brute Strength gives +5/+5 during this turn, and then if users win any victory during this turn, discard 1 card from your opponent's essence area. For every 2 power difference in team totals power between the user's team and the opposing team's users. So for every 2, they discard 1 from their essence. So pretty nice, a nice way of controlling their board of essence and all that. Up next, we have Cane Gunners, or the Cane Gunner. Cane Pirate weapon, which is the requirement for this card: 1 character opposing the user injure the target, and then by paying 2, if you do, deal 1 damage to the target. So you have damage dealing for that. Then we have the ability Feint. Target 1 ability being played, negate that target, and if you do, move that target back to the owner's hand. Increase the cost of your opponent's ability cards by 1 during this turn. So that's very detrimental, especially like considering you only have you can only play like 1 ability per turn. Like imagine sending something back and then forcing your opponent to pay 1 more for that. Like that actually kind of that's blue for you. That's blue control for you. Up next, Way of the Sword. The requirement has to be weapon, and then a weapon has to be on board. 1 character opposing the user becomes the target becomes standby. So instead of it being on the battlefield, it becomes put back here, making it weaker. Expert Brock. You may move the target to the owner's essence area instead. So that actually would suck. So from what I'm getting, the essence, if you don't have anything to bring it back out from the essence, then you essentially lose that card. So the way this card works is if it sends it back to this, and if you have Brock on the board, it just sends it to this, so it'd be kind of sick. Up next, we have Hari. We have 2 copies of Hari in this deck. She's part of the 3 aces, unique, so that means you can only have 1 copy of her on the board at a time. Valid, all characters with the same name, with the name Argelia in your hand get -1 turn cost and hand cost. So that's actually kind of sick. She plays for a discount, or she plays her for a discount, so I'm assuming she's kind of high cost. She might be high cost. Up next, we got 2 copies of Mimi. Mimi is a Cane Pirate female. Trigger valid when this character leaves play. You may discard 1 card from your opponent's essence area, or move 1 card from your discard pile to your essence area. So you can either ramp yourself or you can de-ramp your opponent's essence area. Alright, and then we have 3 copies of Odessa, also 3 aces, 3 aces from the Cane Pirates. Ongoing, valid if the field is a water symbol. This character gets +1/+1 for every other 3 aces character. So if you team them up, or if you team her up with aces, she'll become like a 3/3, which is pretty cool. And then 3 copies of Small Fry. Now Small Fry, during your turn main, move this character card from your hand to the essence area if your field card has water symbol, search your deck for one 3 aces card character in it. So that's kind of cool. So you bring him out and then you can move him to the essence area from your hand. So that's during your turn, and then if you have a field on the board that's water, then you get to basically replace him and basically you get to put a 3 aces in your hand. Up next, we got the boy Chadu. Trigger, when this card is sent out to attack in the same team as one of your female characters, you may discard 1 card from your opponent's essence area, and if you do, this character gets +2/+0 to the end of the turn. Now this is actually kind of sick, especially if you set it up to where you have some of the 3 aces set up and you don't quite have that combo yet. You can go ahead and use him and he'll buff himself up to like +2 to make it a 6 swinger, and then discard an essence card. So that's kind of setting your opponent back a turn. So you're playing into like the abilities and stuff like that. Next, we have our Suzuki. When this character comes into play, you may place a feint counter on it, and then when a Cane Pirate character with turn cost 3 or less control will be discarded by a card effect, you may remove a feint counter from this card instead. So pretty nice. Now we have a copy of Brock, who is a Cane Pirate medical weapon, and then valid main effect EOA. Injure this character and then target one of your other injured characters and heal it. So you activate it during your main phase, basically hurt him to heal 1, which is pretty cool. Then you have 2 copies of Zeke. Zeke says, when this character is summoned, and you control 2 or more pirate characters, you may target 1 Cane Pirate, the turn cost of 3 or less, in your essence area or discard pile and play it. So you can bring it out from the essence area or you can bring it out from the discard pile and play it. Then at the end of this turn, discard the character and play it. Now that works really well with Suki. Suki will bring himself back, put a feint counter on himself, and then use the feint counter to protect himself. Next, we have the foil copy for this card, Leona. When this character is put into play, you can target a character and heal it. But then at the end of the turn, if a pirate character you control was healed, you may draw a card. So that's pretty nice. Then we have a copy of Argelia, play cost 5. Okay, so when this character is put into play, if your field card has water symbol, if your field card has a water symbol, discard up to 2 cards from your opponent's essence area. So you're setting them back some more. And then during your turn, main phase, pay 1 to expel this character. Put into play a captain or vice captain card from your hand or discard pile. So you can send her away basically, and then summon something else that's a captain or vice captain. And then you got Zovidi, who is a mercenary, and then this character is sent out to block. You may discard 1 card to your opponent's essence area. So this is all about essence control / like hand control and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. When this card is considered to have Plagius and Pirate, and it's in all areas, so that's pretty cool. Then next we have Henrata, which is your field card, and then it says at the start of the game, place 2 counters on this card, and then at the start of your turn, you may remove a counter from this card, and if you do, draw a card. And then your turn, main, I guess it's 2 essence, place a counter on this card. So if you want to keep up the momentum of that card, go ahead and do that. Up next, we have 2 copies of Pirate Crossing. Search your deck for 1 pirate card and move it to your. So that's pretty cool. You have a searcher, and then you have Scourge of the Sea, which is also a good card. Target 1 character, negate the effects of the target, and then trigger when this target leaves play, or when the target leaves play, you may draw a card. You have a negate effect, and then when the target leaves from getting smacked up, then you draw. And then Pirate's Life, target 1 card in the essence area, in your essence area, move that target to your hand. So you have ways of recurring stuff. And then you have 3 copies of Just a Few. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, move 1 character among them to your hand, and then the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So you have hella searching. Pretty legit. I think this is going to be a really good game coming pretty soon for you guys. So all in all, I think this game's going to be really good, and I would like to make a deck to show like what the game is about and whatnot, and like all the play costs and stuff like that and how to play it. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.